welcome back to StarLadder iLeague Invitational Season 5. Similar to the DPL situation yesterday, please ignore the ticket. This is Season 5. And this is the China Qualifier. It's LFY versus Rock Gaming. I'm Basskip. Great to be here casting for you guys today. And let's do a quick catch-up on where we are. So this is the China Qualifier. It is an 8-team qualifier, single elimination, best of 3 bracket. The finals are also best out of 3. There is only 1 qualification spot available, so if you make it to first, you're through. If you get second, tough luck. In terms of the overall situation for these two teams, LFY were a direct invite to this qualifier, and Rock Gaming came in through the open qualifier. The one thing to say about Rock Gaming coming through the open qualifier, however, is that they were the 3rd place team in the open qualifier behind Big God and Aurora Esports. And the only reason that they're actually here in this qualifier is because VCJ Thunder were in this qualifier, but then Newbie, who were directly invited to the main event, were unable to attend due to visa or passport issues. And so because of that, VCJ Thunder took their spot in the main event, and that created an opening here in the China qualifier, which was then filled by the 3rd open qualifier team. As far as the 2 other open qualifier teams, their matches were both played yesterday. Big God got 2-0'd by IG, and Aurora Esports got 2-0'd by Keen Gaming. So if the trend continues, Rock Gaming are probably going to get 2-0'd here by LFY. But we'll see what happens. I like their opening to the draft so far. They've picked up a Naga Siren Disruptor. Pretty good teamfight combination, but LFY do have a very aggressive,
5 seconds remaining.
Very in-your-face kind of lineup. It seems like the Nature's Prophet is really coming back a little bit in China. As of recently, we've been seeing VCJ Thunder trying it out. I think LGD have been picking it. And looks like LFY are also on board the Nature's Prophet hype train. So I'm still feeling it. There's that teamfight aspect slowing things down a little bit, but this patch does seem to be getting very, very fast. As far as our bans go, we're going to see that Night Stalker being banned out again. Razor and Tiny also removed. And then Bounty, Death Prophet, and Omni Knight getting taken out of the pool. So Rock Gaming, we'll see if they'll be able to hold on to this clear teamfight superiority as we move a little bit later into the draft, though it shouldn't be too difficult. And I think here's the reason why. Because they've already grabbed so much teamfight in their support positions, and I think it's actually relatively difficult, at least in the current patch, to get a lot of teamfight potential out of your, or like AoE teamfight potential at least, out of your supports. And LFY have already committed to 2 cores that are very single target or not very teamfight oriented.
10 seconds
so I would think that they're probably going to have the teamfight superiority going forward. But I mean, LFY, we could still see something like the Monet Void coming in. If they really want a little bit more teamfight, though, picking the Void into Naga Siren Disruptor, probably a little bit dubious. And I would really like to see Rock Gaming try and put some pressure on Monet on the LFY side. I feel like he's really been the big stable core for their team recently, and sometimes I look at these LFY games and everybody else is running around kind of doing whatever. People are occasionally feeding, there's some questionable decisions being made, and then Monet is the rock. He's the guy who's always getting the farm. He's the insurance policy. He's landing solid ultimates, and he has a couple of heroes that he's really able to take over the game on. So Rock Gaming unfortunately don't really have the best aggro tri-lane potential, but maybe Naga Siren +1 could go and try and get up in the face of the opposing safe lane a little bit. That could be an option. And I guess it's just going to depend on what the pick ends up being. They might even try and leave their offlane pick until a little bit later on, but it could also just be right here. And right there, just going to grab themselves a bat. So not as much team fight, just getting some more single target pick-off potential. Very nice to have against the Nature's Prophet. I think a fairly decent dual lane with the Naga Siren as well. They should be able to put on a decent amount of pressure down there. And
10 seconds remaining.
How does he do against the Elder Titan? I guess it's all right. That seems like a pretty neutral matchup
5 seconds remaining.
ET maybe going to be a little bit annoyed by the sticky napalm. I mean, who isn't? And LFY still very much all in on this kind of 5-man oriented plan. They do pick up the Abaddon. Not clear if that's going to be a safe lane Abaddon. It could be a position for Nature's Prophet. We've been seeing that a little bit recently. So they do still have room to kind of jam a regular old carry into the lineup. They could even have the DK safe lane, though I don't know if you really want that matchup that much against the Bat Rider. So probably DK mid, I would guess I'm leaning towards the Abaddon safe lane at the moment. I think it's actually quite a good safe lane Abaddon game. And Rock Gaming are going to take a little bit of time to come online. Meanwhile, LFY can take towers so damn early. Like Dragonite with his first ultimate at around 6 minutes or 7 minutes into the game. That's going to be a free tier 1 tower pretty much. The Abaddon pushing with the Nature's Prophet. They've got good sustain. They've got the Treants. They've got the Curse of Avernus to help bring down the tower a little bit more quickly. So that's also a tier 1 taken somewhere. And Rock Gaming at the moment don't really have very good deep push at all. Like Batrider can maybe lay down a little bit of a Firefly and drag the wave off. But I worry that their lineup is currently looking a little bit slow in the face of what LFY have. The OD pick seems desirable in this situation. You're like, oh, we're up against a Dragon Knight. He's high armor. Well, OD doesn't care about your armor. That seems like a pretty good matchup. And then now we've got this Abaddon. He's got a lot of health, but OD doesn't really mind because he can just steal a bunch of int and always imprison him during the ultimate. So that also seems like a pretty good matchup. But I worry here about the speed for these lineups because OD needs some time and at least one item at the very least to kind of come online. In this kind of game, I think he needs even more than one item. I think he really needs to get like his Force Staff and a Blink, or get all the way to his Hurricane Pike to actually be able to sit there and right-click in these fights. Because if he gets caught in a Sprout or if he gets hit by a Dragon Tail, I'm really worried about him just getting bursted down and not being able to do anything. So we'll see. I like this from Rock Gaming to round things out. They grabbed the Ember, good early fighting potential. Gives him some more magical burst in the lineup. Very good against the Nature's Prophet. Sort of a, I would say, a traditional counter. A hero that we haven't actually been seeing. Like this matchup we haven't really seen as much recently. But there used to be a point where people would just be like, okay, look, we don't want to deal with the Nature's Prophet split push at all. That's going to be super annoying. So what we'll do is we'll just pick the Ember Spirit. He can leave a remnant with the team. He can always BOT to go and defend our buildings. He can threaten the Nature's Prophet. He can actually solo kill the Nature's Prophet with the right kind of itemization. So I think that's kind of what Rock are looking for here. But another hero where if things go badly in the early game, they could potentially just get run over. So their supports are going to have to put in some work. And LFY, I don't even know what they go for. Alright, just the Lifestealer. Decent against the Bat. Decent against the OD. Doesn't really care so much about the Ember. The Ensnare is going to be a little bit annoying from the Naga Siren, and if he gets caught in a Static Storm, that's going to be annoying. Lasso also not amazing to play against, but I think LFY very much just all about the kind of just 5-manning this game. Just pressure the lanes early on, take those early tier 1 towers. And that's the other thing that I really dislike about the Rock Gaming lineup, is that they can't trade. Their building damage is horrendous. Awful. They have nobody that can comfortably hit a building. OD, I mean, maybe if OD has enough items, you're sitting there, but you're not dealing really any damage. Ember Spirit's not going to be comfortable walking forward, even really with a physical damage build. I wonder if the Ember even just kind of has to go physical this game. Like, if everybody's dead, a physical damage Ember can take a tower, sure. And it's a pretty decent matchup against the Nature's Prophet, but I don't think Yao's going to be too stupid with his Treants. So I guess we'll just have to see what happens. Over on the Rock side, we got DDR on the Naga. Speed, who is their one-position player normally, is going to be on the Ember Spirit, but looks like he's heading towards mid. Shining's going to be on the OD, LT on Disruptor, and Yaha on the Batrider. Meanwhile, on the LFY side, Afu is going to be playing your Elder Titan Inflame. Back on the team, off the bench, he's going to be on the Abaddon. Yao's on this position for Nature's Prophet. So LFY very much just picking kind of 3 strong independent laners, and then I think looking to move around their 2 supports and go from lane to lane, hopefully finding kills in the early game. Afu's got himself a Windlace. Yao's got the Liver Venom. Shouldn't be too hard. Shouldn't be too hard for them to get things done here.
30 seconds to battle.
But yeah, I think these Rock lanes are going to get run over. Maybe the Batrider does okay. I think if their one saving grace here is going to be Batrider does quite well. So maybe Batrider like gets good CS and maybe gets a kill or two. Ember trades farm, which I think he can manage against the Dragon Knight. And then the Batrider and the Ember have to link up and go and get kills and start really pressuring and turn up to every single fight after that. Because, like I said, they're not gonna have the map control advantage early on. They have to somehow hold on to these tier 1 towers to maintain that farming space. Because if they lose all the tier 1s and then they just get choked out behind their tier 2s, LFY can just build up a big net worth lead, and at that point I think they can take over the game. You know, you can overcome bad matchups like DK or Abaddon versus OD if you just have the farm. You can buy Halberds, you can buy Orchid, you can buy BKB, you can just buy items that make the OD's life miserable. So Monet is going to have to deal with a dragged creep wave here. DDR going to take this wave back in between the tier 1 and tier 2 towers. The Batrider is also looking to drag the secondary wave, but Monet just manages to jam them together. So, you know, this is the face of Dota now. This is where one lane is. This is where the other lane is. Lane number 3 is over here. And oh look, we got a 4th lane on the mid lane. This is really getting truly silly, but let's see how the Batrider does here in terms of CS. Monet not letting him have anything just yet. Is he also going to get this deny? Yes, he will. Poor old Batrider, 0-0 so far. Not a great start. At least Ember's doing pretty nicely for himself over at the mid lane. Pretty renowned for his Dragon Knight, actually, but most of these DK matchups are pretty damn boring. Nagasiren, where's she gone? Alright, so we do have pretty much a full tri-lane versus tri-lane up here at top. They're going to try and go for Yao. Decent damage. He's going to try for the TP out, but there is an imprisonment. Ready to cancel. Abaddon does have a shield to try and help out. Elder Titan going to be coming over with a little bit of damage, I would think, but Yao's still just going to get right-click down. DDR picking up that kill. Inflame laying in with a couple of auto attacks, but can't really stand there and go toe-to-toe. And that will just be a nice easy first blood picked up for LFY. I don't know if Yao didn't realize how far away Afu was, or what the situation was, but not a great start to this sort of aggressive tri-lane. Afu gonna find himself a double damage here as he wanders over towards mid, and Ember actually a reasonably long way up in the lane. But Afu's gonna take that DD and head over towards top. We do have an Imprison on the Abaddon, but he's full HP. He's fine. Yeah, just continuing to lay in with the Treant harassment along with the right clicks. Denies his Treant there for good measure, and Afu gonna build up some of that spirit damage. Ooh, he's hitting hard. Shining, don't even let him hit you once. Just run away. Yeah, that's definitely the play there. And speed up underneath the tower. Doing very well on this mid lane. Not really ahead in terms of denies, so it's going to be pretty even level-wise. And how is bottom lane actually going? Batrider is like... Creeps are just getting dragged everywhere. There's like 3 ranged creeps in this lane now. Bat still only has 5 CS. Whatever has happened down here is just comedic as all hell, but it does seem like Monet is doing just fine out of all of this. And Inflame also farming decently up top. The OD only has 6 CS, which is certainly not great. And alright, Batrider, forced to TP back? Looks like did he even get open wounds? What even happened? Alright, well, Batrider's back here. He's got his Tranquil Boots, healing back up a little bit. But it does seem to me that LFY doing just fine, or even doing very well in the laning stage. Speed has picked up a bottle. Going for the kill. It hasn't really committed one way or the other in terms of the build, but I'm thinking it's going to be the physical damage build this game. Though that is a little bit slower in terms of early fighting potential, so I guess we'll see what happens. Well, not necessarily slower, but it's like slightly less effective, let's say. Like, you buy BOTs first and you can still fight as Ember, but not quite the same as like grabbing a Veil, for example. But I do think his team is going to need him to supplement some physical damage this game. Bat, alright, kind of giving up on the lane for a moment here. He's just going to clean up a little neutral stack. And the LFY supports continue to just kind of sit up here in top lane. Looks like Yao has backed off, perhaps into the jungle a little bit. He cleared out the medium camp. He's got a couple of observer wards that he'd like to plant relatively soon. Super's about to hit his level 6. Over at mid lane. Looks like my timeline for level 6 is a little bit off. It is going to be around 5 minutes. Abaddon in some trouble. This one's going to drag this wave around, but what is his plan now? There's going to be a stomp helping him out a little bit, but it doesn't really connect with anybody. He goes for the shield, but just gets chomped down. DDR with the Riptide. Sneaking in there. I think he was hoping to pop the shield and then use the salve. I don't know what Inflame was up to. This is again what I was talking about during the draft. I feel like Monet, generally pretty solid, pretty reliable player for the team. Everybody else just occasionally seems to have these weird moments of lapses of concentration. Speed has picked up his level 6, takes a quick opportunity to go and refill his bottle and jump right back into the lane. He's manning up pretty hard on Super at the moment. Batrider level 4, the Lifestealer has his level 6. Looks like Monet doing just fine to win this 1v1. And Speed, copping quite a bit of harassment, does have 3 bottle sips ready to help him out. Yao just waiting around the corner to try and push down this tier 1 tower. It looks like they still have about half of the Dragonite ultimate left, and Super does not want Speed to be able to get this bottle refilled for free. Heads up towards the top rune. It's not even here, and it will be Afu who goes down and grabs the invis at bottom. But, oh my god, Monet has 23 denies. This is an uncontested lane if I've ever seen one. Free farm Lifestealer is a go. Speed getting forced away from the mid lane. Remnant's up, does shrine himself back up, but only has, what, 1 Remnant in reserve now. And Super just continuing to chip. And TPing down bottom, they're going to be looking for Batrider. Already open wounds up, couple more auto attacks, and easily goes down. I don't even think Yao was needed for that one. And LFY now turn their attention towards this bottom tower. Super getting gone on, but he's very tanky. Speed, he's got some Remnants, is he willing to use them? He's getting Dragon Tailed up. Super makes it underneath the tower, still has 12 wand charges. He's going to be fine. Very unsuccessful rotation from the rock supports, as they will now lose this bottom tier 1. Lift's already being used. Batrider going to try and drag the wave, but they got the Treants to tank, and Monet... Alright, he misses the last hit. Praised him too much, misses the last hit. He is going to be going for a Radiance build this game, so... That does slow down the overall pace a little bit for LFY, but I still think they're just... kinda unconcerned about this rock lineup, because I think even if this goes late, I think I like LFY's draft a little bit more. Inflame already has some phase boots, so he is applying a ton of pressure up here. Shining has started to pick up a couple of CS here and there, but still pretty far down on the overall CS charts. Yao's over in the jungle, resetting this lane really nicely, so Monet still has a very safe place to farm, and they're not giving too much more over to the Batrider. Okay, what do they do here? I guess if you're Rock, you don't actually have that much rotation potential. You gotta chill out and you gotta get your level 6s. You gotta get your 6 on the Naga, you get the 6 on the Disruptor. I think you prioritize the Disruptor as much as you possibly can. You might even consider jamming the Ember Spirit in the jungle and then having the Disruptor take over the experience on the mid lane just so that he can get the points up in the Glimpse and get that Static Storm up nice and early, because he's going to be a very important part of their early team fights. But looks like Ember is still going to be taking the mid lane for the majority of this time. He is going for the Veil build-up. So it looks like maybe Battle Fury not on the agenda, at least not yet. Batrider, 1,500 gold. Well, let's call it 1,600 after he gets this last hit worth of progress to his blink. So it's going to be reasonably timely. That first blink gank is going to be pretty important for the team. Though it might be a little bit tough to use if LFY are 5-manning pretty heavily at that point. Super with another Dragonite ultimate, ready to go. Wants this tier 1 tower, it's already down to 300 HP, and Monet even going to rotate across. LFY might even just go for 2 here. Is there any reason not to? Or are they just going to go top tier 1? Yeah, the lack of deep push is hurting Rock so much. Their deep push sucks, but their initiation also kind of sucks until the Batrider gets his blink. Nope, we get the Dragon Tail off into the Naga Siren. She's slowed up, does have a net to potentially use. Now Slep, Disruptor coming in. What can he really do? Monet's running at him. DDR's not dead just yet. Speed trying to commit onto Yao. He will. Oh, doesn't quite manage the TP out, but it looks like it's just going to end up being a trade. Speed up onto the high ground. Those wand charges keeping him alive. Nicely done. LT now also arriving. Okay, very well played by the Ember. Holding them here a little bit longer. Lifestealer has Rage back up in 1 second's time. There is a lasso, but not exactly an easy target to go on is Inflame. And Shining gets some time to get some CS up top, which is definitely nice for him. Still working on that 4-staff.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Alright, with that speed, still a little ways away from his Veil. But definitely a lot of magical damage on the team. 4 points already up on the Firefly. They do have the level 6 now on the Disruptor. Looks like he got the Tome, realizing just how important that is for the team. And Super actually a little bit low farming this neutral stack. Might just get brought down. 3 points up in the Glimpse is going to be enough to bring him back anytime. Glimpse back into the kinetic field. Do they even need to use the last? It looks like they won't need to. Dragonite just caught in the Static Storm. Now Inflame coming over. Might also get caught out here. The Imprisonment's already being used. So they can't keep him locked down. With that, Rock do fight back. They hold on to the kill lead, but still down a little bit in terms of net worth.
Radiant's
And
middle tower is
LFY,
under
what is
attack.
their plan? Just kind of waiting for
Radiant
Monet.
structures are fortified.
Pick up some more farm. Speed doing his best, though. I think the Siege Creep's doing a little bit more than him in terms of this tower push. And
Dire's
now he's
bottom
going to come
tower
over and
is under
defend that.
attack.
Level 6 now ready to go. Afu lagging behind just a little bit, but not too far. And Speed actually considering diving in here. Yeah, going to surround himself with the tree and just so that he can't get hit by the Searing Chains. And actually cancels to continue right-clicking. Looks like he has Afu here for some backup.
Radiant's middle
They are going to
tower
click on
is
the
under
Ember,
attack.
see that he has a Remnant available, but it's actually just waiting back here on the high ground. Speed jumps himself away. DDR getting chased by Super up top. Inflame gets the auto attack down. There's your Dragon Tail, and I don't see any escape for the Naga Siren. As Afu also gets the deny at mid.
Radiant's
All right.
bottom tower is under attack.
So Ember's got his Veil. He is somewhat combat ready, but I don't think he's going to be 1v5ing a fight. Lifestealer has 3.2k gold towards his Radiance. The OD can grab his Staff of Wizardry at this point. It's not bad, but they still lacking in the map control department a little bit. LT going to come in here and plant what I would describe as some potentially very optimistic wards. I don't know if any fights are going to be happening on this side of the map for a while. LFY still very much in control of all the pushing. They do have a Blink Dagger on their Batrider. Who can they find? I don't think they want to settle for Yao. Super is the ideal target, but can they actually burst him down? The shield comes out. He gets outside of the Static Storm, outside of the kinetic field. They've already blown their load a little bit when it comes to spells. Shining comes in. He doesn't even have the ultimate. Now they lose the bat. The Wrath of Nature bouncing through. Monet chasing forward. He doesn't have any items really, but still more than ready to fight this out. Jumps out of the infest. Finishes off one more. Speed living up to his name. He's got a haste. He found Yao on the back lines. But if you're just solo killing the enemy Nature's Prophet at this point, I don't know if you're really doing enough for your team, especially given your status as the #1 net worth hero in the game. But he just doesn't really feel like he can commit into the middle of things. If he gets caught by a Dragon Tail, he's just dead. So, and they also really botched that initiation on Super. Goes to show why the Abaddon's just such a nice hero against Batrider. Ooh, can they get the vision? Or can they get the disruptor in range? That's the question. There's the net. Super just going to turn around and fight. Inflame's also here, and Batrider might just be going down once again. Nice counter-initiating stomp from Afu as they chase down DDR. He's going to try and slink his way into the trees, but I don't see any way out for him. Speed also choosing to engage into this fight. Afu's just a little bit too tanky, and the Breathe Fire is going to end up dispelling the Flame Guard, so Speed's just forced to jump himself away. And Rock choosing to take a fight without their ultimates, really. They did end up losing the tier 2 at the same time, now down by 6k gold. And just no real way to keep these lanes pushed out and keep the farm out. Shining getting run at. Jump charge popped by Super, gets the Dragon Tail off. He also gets imprisoned, but Yao's going to be here with the Sprout. TP out from Shining. Is it going to be in time? Easily. Not quite able to get in there with the stomp. But they are constantly just shepherding Rock away from the farm. They're not really threatening. That's the one sort of crappy thing about Naga Siren sometimes as a support. You got You're a great team fighting tool, but when it comes to these smaller scale pickoffs, can be very difficult to use. At least they have the Song of the Siren now, so could get that big combination down with the Disruptor. But LFY just continuing to get more and more farmed. Inflame just going to be picking up a Hood. Hype probably following not too long after. He's already got a medallion, so Roshan definitely a very easy target for them at this point. And Lifestealer with Radiance and an Aegis, I don't see him going down twice.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Alright, yeah, we saw him make this play yesterday and just die instantly to an Observer Ward on this high ground, but this time around he's going to get away with it. One of the nice things about Nature's Prophet, kind of up there with Ricky and Bounty Hunter as those sneaky supports who can plant wards in places that the enemy team may not be expecting. And this ward may even net him a courier snipe a little bit later on, which would be nice. Afu's just going for a Yules. Potentially very nice counter initiation tool against the Bat Rider. Pretty good against the Ember as well, who now has some BOTs picked up. Might be able to start split pushing a little bit, but like I said earlier, his ability to threaten buildings is just kind of non-existent. What's Yao going for? Just a Meteor Hammer for this Nature's Prophet, Dragon Knight. Oh, it's going to be picking up an item that will maybe make the Ember sweat a little bit. Have that Shadow Blade before too long. Get a DD just outside the pit. Monet's got his Radiance, and LFY will quite easily set their sights onto the Roshan. If there was ever a good opportunity for Rock to take a fight, this would be it, but it's tough to get over to the pit with the Elder Titan standing guard. Bat wants this kill. I thought I was lagging for a second there, but he was just standing completely still. And with that, the 3 LFY cores make very quick work of Roche. Everybody's still full HP pretty much. And all that remains now. I guess they can do whatever they want. They could farm some more with this Aegis. They could go and take some more tier 2 towers if they really wanted to. Speed's just going for a Blade Mail. I think kind of feeling the desperation of the situation here. They need to start winning some fights in the next like 10 minutes or so. So Odie's just going straight for BKB. Speed's going to be going for a Blade Mail. Doing his absolute best to keep these lanes shoved out. This do see Inflame down here. Not the easiest target to go for, but there's also a bunch of heroes over at mid lane, so maybe they'll still try for it. Super with the Dragon Tail. Nice stomp. Earth Splitter also following it up. Shining force staffing himself forward. They're going on Inflame. He still has the ultimate available. He's fighting up against 4, but still surviving for now. He's going to have another shield in a second. Wrath of Nature bouncing through. The shield damage is actually going to be pretty decent. This team isn't coming over to help him just yet. Looks like he will be left for dead. No, Super now TPing in. Stagstorm getting dropped, but it's actually just healing the Abaddon back up. Speed. Can he finally finish this kill? No, he gets Yules at the last moment. Inflame still surviving. The Remnant forward. Is it going to be enough damage to finish him? DDR trying for the TP home. Is there going to be a Breathe Fire? No, there's a Stomp to finish him off. They use their big ultimates. They don't get a single kill. LFY brush themselves off. Yeah, not even getting involved. In fact, it's just he's gonna get glimpsed back. All right, looks like Yao's dead. Trying to get some stacks. Doesn't get the kill. Poor guy.
Let death become peace.
Tier 2 tower taken out down bottom.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
And Bat, I mean, he just can't really get anything done against this super 5-man oriented lineup. There you go, gets Dragon Tailed. There's that Solar Crest, just gets right-clicked to death. No opportunity at all for him for supports to help counter-initiate. LFY right up onto the high ground. Glyphs used, it's kind of all falls to speed at this point. There is still another ultimate available for the Abaddon, however. Yao comes running in, gonna channel up the Meteor Hammer. Not aiming for anybody else, just playing the objective to get the stomp onto the OD. He does have a Force Staff, gets a little bit further away. Super in fairly deep, but there's shields from Inflame to help him out. And Monet still standing strong in the front lines with his Aegis. Shining needs to go back to the fountain and heal up. Will likely grab a salve just to try and get out here that little bit faster, but LFY are already working on the melee barrack. Speed doesn't even really feel like he can commit into the fight, and he's just going to get Dragon Tailed out of Invis. The Sempure Ward not providing enough protection. Super finishes that kill. There is a buyback available for the Ember, but no real point now that the melee barracks is already dead. Though I don't know if LFY are going to be backing off. They are a little bit low on mana.
Dire's bottom
Shining trying to build up some
has
stacks,
fallen.
but can't really get too close. Bat had a Blink Lasso available. Same story. There's going to be an instant Yules or an instant shield. Not very easy. And LFY extremely systematic. Take out the shrines. They've now got a 16k net worth lead. Almost 20 minutes into the game. And Rock just kind of left scratching their heads.
Dire's bottom shrine has fallen.
Afu just gonna grab himself a Rod of Atos. Super working on BKB. I don't even know if he needs it. Monet. Imprison him up. Super running up onto the high ground. Shining. Oh, they do get the lasso off, but that's an illusion. And Monet's just gonna stand his ground with the rage. Keeps on auto-attacking down. They also use the Standard Eclipse. Afu says, "Joke's on you! I'm still here!" Drops the Earth Splitter. Doesn't hit anyone. They've already lost 2 on the side of Rock. Ember's bouncing around everywhere with the Sleight of Fist. Jumps in with the Remnant. Gets Dragon-tailed instantly. And DDR's had enough. They're going to call the GG. LFY take an extremely easy Game 1 victory here. In StarLadder I-League Invitational Season 5 China Qualifiers. Yeah, that sounds right. I don't know. I feel like Rock just kind of outdrafted themselves a little bit, or just didn't respect what LFY were representing in terms of their lineup. They opened with the Nature's, or maybe they felt like they could just team fight it, but I think they kind of messed up their timing a little bit. They're like, oh yeah, they've picked a Dragon Knight Nature's Prophet opening. That's fine. We'll just oh, not Dragon Knight Nature's Prophet. They picked what did they pick? Wait, this seems very out of order. Didn't they pick NPDK opening? Am I crazy? So what's it say? Yeah, OD was not the first pick. All right, thanks Endgame Stats. Appreciate it. But I don't know. I think they didn't respect the fact that there was so much early push on the LFY side, and then they didn't grab any heroes that could threaten a building for themselves at all. Like, at least if they had a safe laner who could take a building, then, you know, instead of the OD, when the OD got left alone up top after kind of LFY rotated away a little bit and it was just the Abaddon, maybe they could have rotated up, killed the Abaddon, and taken the tier 1 and gotten some map control and gotten some gold going. But instead, they just kind of got annihilated. Yeah, they kept it kind of even in terms of the net worth initially, but then after that, things very quickly fell apart. They didn't deal with the lifestealer at all. He had absolute free farm. I mean, Monet, what did he... No, whoops. That's not what I want. I want this one. Wait, that doesn't show CS. I wanted to show his insane number of denies. He didn't even really have to do anything this game. Again, Monet just kind of being the insurance policy. Got his Radiance. Was ready to help the team if they needed it, but... That's going to wrap it up for this Game 1. It is a best of 3, so Rock have an opportunity to come back. I don't know if they're going to be able to manage it, but it would be nice to see a full 3-game series as opposed to just another open qualifier team getting 2-0'd. Though whether or not that's going to happen remains up in the air. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon for game number 2.